Hello, my name is Sue, and I have come to share one of my storybooks because I write stories all about buses. Can you see I like buses? When my children were little, they went to a playgroup on a real bus, and this is the real JJ the Supersonic Bus. He has 3 storybooks of his own, but the story I'm going to read today is all about this bus here, which was the bus that my children went to, and this is the bus that I painted. And I painted for the children in the playgroup, and I covered it with nursery rhymes. So there's the story. And here is the storybook. And it's called Daisy Daydream, the nursery rhyme bus. Have you ever been on a bus? Have you ever been allowed to play on a bus? Now that is different. Well, Daisy was once a red double-decker bus travelling the busy streets of London. There'd been lots of buses just like her, each with a different route to journey on. And every day her driver Philip and her conductor Val arrived ready to take her off to work. She was the number 73 and drove the Oxford Street route. Up in London there are lots and lots of buses always travelling around. One day, a bright red bus drove into the garage and everything began to change. The big red bus was shiny and new. Unlike Daisy, it had a door at the front. It had an air system that blew with a psh and made the doors open and shut with ease. The bus did not need a conductor, it only needed a driver. And with its up-to-date steering, it was easily moved around the tight corners of the London streets. As more and more new buses came along, Daisy knew it would only be a matter of time before the new red buses took over and replaced the older buses just like her. One by one, the old buses disappeared. Some went off to museums, some went off to private collectors, and some were just broken down for parts. Daisy worried what would happen to her. What job could she do? And would she be forgotten and left behind? Here's her driver, Philip and Val. Carrying a newspaper, Philip rushed into the yard. "Look at this," said Philip. "What is it?" asked Val, and she peered over Philip's shoulder at the newspaper. "It's a story about an old bus that's been turned into a play bus. It looks like our bus," he added. "Does?" In the newspaper it says, JJ, the Supersonic Bus. Philip and Val read the story aloud, and Daisy felt excited. It seemed that JJ the Supersonic Bus had once been an ordinary bus too. He'd been rescued from a scrapyard and had been transformed into a play bus for the children to play on. "Do you think we could do the same?" asked Val. "I don't see why not," replied Philip. "I'm sure there's lots of kids who'd like a safe place to play and would love to play on a bus." Philip and Val went off to see the garage owner to tell him about their idea, and together they made a plan and they set about raising the money to buy the old bus for themselves. They contacted the newspapers, the radio stations, and even the television studios, and everyone thought it was a good idea. The television reporters thought that a play bus sounded like a great idea for a programme. A bus could visit lots of different places, and perhaps each stop would bring a different kind of fun. Philip and Val decided that they should go and meet JJ the Supersonic Bus to see for themselves. They met with Alex, JJ's driver, to ask for advice. It was great to see the new bus in action. JJ had a calm and cosy feel, and the kids loved playing on their bus. Philip and Val knew that there were children who would want to play on their bus too. Can you see all those children? Some of them inside it, upstairs and downstairs, having such fun. They really are having a great time. From then on, things changed. Daisy was sent to a special garage. They knew all about JJ and how to change Daisy into a special play bus. First, they took out all the seats. This had been a bit of a worry for Daisy. How would the children sit when they got no seats? But without the seats, there was much more room for children to play. Special seats were added that lifted open to reveal a treasure of toys inside. You can see they'd taken out the old seats and putting in some special box seating full of toys. Because you weren't going to sit and journey on it, it was a bus to go and play on. They built an area downstairs for messy arts and crafts. Paint and glue could be used, and they had built a special tray where sand would be added. Outside, they added a slide to fit on the bonnet of the bus, just like JJ's. You see the bonnet, the slide being added. And downstairs, there's a place where children could do the painting and the drawing, and even play with the sand and Play-Doh. But you can't do that on an ordinary bus. But this is a different bus. News of the work on Daisy was followed by the newspapers and on the television. Local schools were invited to enter a competition to name the bus, as well as to suggest suitable pictures that the children might like. Daisy was sent to a special paint shop where they cleaned off her old paint and covered all of her windows with paper. How will I know what they're doing, wondered Daisy. There was a fizzing sound, and she felt the cool spray. She realised she was getting a new coat of paint. She wouldn't be red anymore. Her new green and blue colours became a landscape filled with trees and rolling hills. You see, they've covered her windows so that she doesn't get paint all over her windows. And then they're going to spray paint her, which tickled, was quite cold. They added some nursery rhyme characters, and she knew that the little children would love them. She felt the tickle of the brushes as the pictures were painted on, and she felt a giggle inside, which made her feel happy. She was excited but nervous. Along came Philip and Val to watch as the paper was removed and the bright new bus was revealed. Oh, wow. You see how they're revealing it, uncovering it like a present, opening it up. And then, painted on the door of the bus was Humpty Dumpty, sitting on the wall, welcoming the children to come along and play. Nearby was a painting of Bar Black Sheep with his 3 bags of wool and for the little boy. Sitting under a tree by the slide sat little Miss Muffet with a spider dropping down beside her. I think that's going to frighten her away. And on the other side of the bus, Philip and Val saw a painting of Little Bo Peep. She was busy looking for her sheep, who were hiding on the back of the bus. There was also a painting of Jack and Jill, who were tumbling down the hill after collecting a bucket of water from the well. And little boy Blue was sleeping under the haystack, and with a painting of the old woman who lived in the shoe, full of children. The scene was complete. I wonder if you know some of those nursery rhymes. The bus looked beautiful. I think the kids will love singing the nursery rhymes, said Philip. It was then that Daisy was given a new name, Daisy Daydream. White daisies were painted all along the grassy slopes of the bus. I love the daisies, said Val. Daisy Daydream, said Philip. Perfect. She certainly is our dream, said Val. You see all the daisies all along the bottom. Finally, stuffed full of all the things needed to make her ready for play, Daisy was ready to meet the children. Philip and Val organised a special celebration for the children to come along and meet this beautiful bus. There was a special surprise when JJ, the supersonic bus, and his driver, Alex, arrived. They brought the mayor to officially open Daisy Daydream, and the two buses were parked side by side. They looked a perfect pair. Can you see? Daisy and JJ close together. The mayor made a speech, and then he cut a ribbon. Daisy Daydream was officially opened, and the children were going to be allowed to play. Hurrah! Got balloons and bunting to celebrate. I think this is a party day. The children were eager to come along and explore inside. The party soon became a place full of chattering, happy children, having fun and enjoying the adventure. Daisy Daydream was so glad that Philip and Val had saved her. For Daisy, this was a dream come true. So she wasn't sent to a museum and she wasn't sent to the scrapyard. She was a playgroup. And the real Daisy Daydream, information there with the real pictures, nursery rhyme pictures. And once upon a time, there was a programme on the television called Playdays or Playbus. Well, now you've heard all about some of my buses, I wondered whether you would have a little go at doing something for me. Perhaps you should ask your mums or somebody to help you, your adult, and draw a bus of your own. Now, it has to be bright and colourful. What will your bus have on the outside? What pictures would you put? And what name would you give your play bus? Perhaps you could write a little sentence to tell me about it, about your play bus and what it looks like. But it has to be bright and colourful and it has to be different.